Hey everyone, back for another deep dive into the wild world of tech news. It really never slows down, does it?
Never a dull moment. Always something new and exciting popping up. Or, sometimes, maybe a little bit concerning.
That's the truth. So much to keep track of. Well, we've got a whole stack of articles here, some rumors, some leaks, some pretty wild ideas.
Sounds like a good mix.
It is. We're going to try to cut through the noise and pick out the stuff that really makes you think, hold on, what? Like, remember Intel?
You mean with their foray into graphics cards?
Exactly. Seemed like they were throwing in the towel there for a minute. The CEO even made some comments, kind of sounded like they were moving on.
Right, right. Focusing on their core strengths and all that.
But now, hold on tight, because there's a whole lot of buzz about a potential comeback. Battle Mage, that's the word on the street. Leaked shipping manifests, whispers of a December demo.
Interesting. A bit of a head scratcher, considering what the CEO said.
I know, right? Maybe they saw the demand for GPUs just skyrocketing, especially in data centers. Got to be tempting to try and grab a piece of that pie.
Makes sense. Data
Yeah.
centers are a huge market right now, but, Intel's first attempt with those Arc GPUs.
Yeah, they were okay, weren't they? Decent in some areas, but not quite there for gaming, at least not compared to the big players.
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot performance and price. Got to get both right. If Intel can nail that, who knows? They might carve out a decent niche for themselves.
Could be. But speaking of the big players, let's talk Nvidia. RTX 50 series coming soon, CES in January, that's the rumor. Gamers are already seeing 40 series stocks drying up, which is usually a good sign, right?
Yep, classic sign that a new generation's on the way.
But, and this is where it gets juicy, there's chatter about some overheating issues. With their Blackwell data center GPUs, apparently NVIDIA is requiring clients to use their in-house server rack design, and
Oh, I see where this is going.
it's not handling the heat too well. Imagine 72 of those high-powered chips running full blast.
Sounds toasty.
It's a potential problem. And the big question is, will it affect the gaming cards too? The RTX 50 series is supposed to be based on the same Blackwell architecture. Gamers drop in big bucks for a top-of-the-line card, only to find out it's turning their rig into a furnace. Not good.
Not good at all. Performance is key, but stability and reliability are just as important. NVIDIA needs to sort that out for sure.
Yeah.
And, speaking of navigating tricky situations,
What's that?
PC Partner, they're a huge graphics card manufacturer.
Yeah.
Zotac, Inno3D, Manly, those are some of their brands. They've just moved their headquarters from Hong Kong to Singapore.
Wow, big move. Any reason why?
They haven't said outright, but a lot of experts are pointing to U.S. sanctions,
Yeah.
the whole thing with tech exports to China.
Ah, makes sense. Sidestep those geopolitical hurdles.
Exactly. Keep things running smoothly.
It's crazy how much tech and politics are intertwined these days, isn't it?
Absolutely. But let's shift gears a bit, shall we? Over to Google land, where things are getting, well,
A little strange.
you could say that. Word on the street is that Google is slowly, but surely, assimilating Chrome OS into Android.
Whoa, hold on. You're saying Chromebooks, as we know them, gone.
Potentially
Yeah,
replaced by laptops running a beefed-up version of Android.
Android laptops. Huh. I mean, Chromebooks have their place. Simple, affordable, cloud-based.
That's true. This raises a whole bunch of questions, right? Will they be as affordable? Can they handle the demanding tasks people use laptops for? And, most importantly, what about the user experience?
So many questions. It's not like this came out of nowhere, though, right?
Yeah,
I remember Google hinting at this hybrid approach back in June.
they did. Seems like they're playing in the long game here, gradually easing people into this new direction. What are your thoughts? You're the one who lives and breathes this stuff.
Well, I see both sides. On one hand, having access to that massive Android app library on a laptop, that's huge for productivity and entertainment. But, there's that simplicity and intuitive feel of Chrome OS. Will they lose that?
That's the million-dollar question.
Exactly. And it's not just Chromebooks either. There are whispers of a Pixel Tablet 2 with a keyboard case and a high-end Pixel laptop codenamed Snowy. Google's making moves in the hardware space, that's for sure.
Definitely keeping things interesting.
No doubt about it. But hey, before we get too deep into that, how about some rapid-fire tech news? Just some quick hits that caught our attention.
Sound good.
All right, first up, Valve's adding support for NVIDIA's DLSS 3 to Proton. That compatibility layer that lets Windows games run on Linux.
Big news for Linux gamers.
Huge! DLSS 3, it's like magic, right? AI upscaling makes games look amazing and run smoother, especially on higher-end systems.
Game changer for Linux gamers who often face limitations when it comes to performance. Speaking of gaming.microsoft.xbox,
Oh yeah, what's with that? This is an Xbox campaign.
confusing, isn't it? They're pointing at all sorts of things that are clearly not Xbox consoles and saying, this is an Xbox.
Yeah. Had people wondering if they were ditching dedicated consoles altogether, which would be a pretty wild move after the success of the Series X and S.
Right. Luckily, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, cleared things up, confirmed that there will be future consoles.
Okay, good. Good to know. Still a strange marketing campaign, though.
Definitely. All right, ready for something a little more futuristic?
Get me.
Ring watches.
Wait, what?
Casio and Timex, they've both released these gadgets you wear on your finger.
Like a watch on your face.
That's exactly. Straight out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Casio's version even has alarms and a stopwatch.
I don't know what to say. Is this a trend or just a gimmick?
Time will tell. But it shows how much innovation is happening in wearables. Speaking of which, have you heard about Perplexity?
Is that the AI search company?
Yep, they've just rolled out a service for their Pro subscribers. Get this, the AI does your online shopping for you.
Whoa, hold on. AI doing my shopping? How does that even work?
Apparently, you just click a button and it takes over.
Yeah.
Shipping, billing, checkout, the whole 9 yards. They claim it makes shopping 10 times more easy and fun.
10 times, huh? That's a bold claim. But how does it know what you want? And what about mistakes? Unauthorized purchases.
All good questions. Raises even bigger ones, too. Data privacy, security, algorithmic bias. We'll have to see how they handle all that and how people react to this whole AI shopping thing.
Yeah, it's kind of Black Mirror-ish, isn't it? Makes you think.
It does, and it ties back to what we were saying earlier about NVIDIA and their focus on AI with those Blackwell GPUs.
Oh, yeah, good point.
The demand for AI processing power is exploding, not just in data centers, but for everyday applications, too.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. It's a trend we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on.
Definitely a lot to unpack there.
We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure.
From potential GPU shakeups to finger watches and AI shoppers.
It's been quite a ride.
It has. But hey, stick with us because when we come back, we're diving into something completely different. Valve's new documentary about Half-Life 2.
Oh, I've heard about this.
2 hours long, packed with behind-the-scenes stuff, and they finally answer the big question. Why was Episode 3 never released?
Can't wait to hear what they have to say.
Me neither. We'll be back in a flash.
Welcome back, everyone. Before the break, we were talking about some pretty crazy stuff. AI shoppers, finger watches, and remember Intel? Maybe getting back into the graphics card game.
It's hard to keep up, right?
It is. But now, how about a little trip down memory lane?
Oh yeah, Valve's new Half-Life 2 documentary. 2 hours long, packed with behind-the-scenes stuff.
I've been meaning to watch that.
It's a must-see for any Half-Life fan. And they finally address the big mystery, the question that's been haunting gamers for, what, like 17 years?
Why was Episode 3 never released? Yeah, that's a big one.
Huge. And the answer? Brace yourself.
Right.
It wasn't because they couldn't do it. They could have shipped Episode 3.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Gabe Newell himself said it wouldn't have been that hard technically, but they felt like it would have been a disservice to the fans.
A disservice.
Yeah.
How so?
They felt like they needed to do something really innovative with the gameplay, not just churn out another episode that felt like more of the same, just to tie up loose ends.
I see. So they wanted to push the boundaries, do something truly groundbreaking.
Exactly. They were aiming for a game changer, something that would redefine what a Half-Life game could be.
That's that ambitious.
Yeah.
And risky, right?
Yeah.
I mean, choosing creative ambition over, well, the expectations of a huge fan base.
No doubt. But that's kind of Valve's style, isn't it? They've always pushed the envelope. The physics in Half-Life 2, the VR stuff they've done. They're not afraid to experiment, even if it means delaying things or, going in a totally different direction.
True. They've definitely earned a reputation for quality and innovation. Makes this whole Episode 3 thing even more intriguing. Shows how committed they are to making something truly exceptional, even if it means, well, disappointing some fans in the short term.
Yeah, I kind of admire that. It would have been easy to just cash in, release a mediocre Episode 3. But they didn't. They stuck to their guns, prioritized their vision, even if it meant leaving the story unresolved.
It does make you think about the whole balance between artistic integrity and, the pressures of the market, especially in gaming, where franchises can be so lucrative.
For sure. Reminds me of what we were discussing earlier with Google and the whole Chrome OS Android thing.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's about taking a bold step, potentially shaking things up, changing the way we interact with technology.
Interesting parallel. Both Google and Valve making decisions that could disrupt their respective markets, reshape the user experience.
And that's what makes this whole tech landscape so exciting, right? You never know what's going to happen next. Speaking of which, those finger watches.
I know, right? Still
Yeah.
can't get over those. Like something out of a comic book.
I know. It's a reminder that tech can be fun, whimsical, not all serious business data centers and algorithms.
Hmm.
So, Valve's documentary, they really emphasize that the reason they didn't finish episode 3 was this desire for meaningful gameplay innovation. They didn't want to just churn out another episode that felt like more of the same, simply to tie up loose ends.
Makes sense, given their track record. Sounds like they were aiming for something truly revolutionary, something that Episode 3, at least as it was originally planned, couldn't achieve.
And while it's a bummer that we never got to play it, I respect that. But it does make you wonder, what's next for Half-Life?
Right. Will they ever revisit that universe? Or will they take this creative energy and put it into something totally new? Who knows what they're cooking up over there?
It's Valve. They always manage to surprise us. But let's zoom out a bit. What do all these developments, all these stories, tell us about where the tech world is heading?
Well, for one thing, the lines are getting blurrier, aren't they? Google merging Chrome OS and Android, Microsoft saying everything is an Xbox. Even those finger watches, it's like everything's converging.
It's wild. It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie. Finger watches, AI shopping assistants, playing high-end games on Linux. Who would have predicted this a few years ago?
It's amazing, and it just shows how important it is to stay flexible, keep learning. The only constant in tech is change.
Couldn't agree more. It's not just about knowing what the latest gadgets are. It's about understanding the why, the how, the potential impact, asking the right questions, being open to new possibilities.
And that's what we're trying to do here, right? Not just report the news, but explore it, connect the dots, look at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And hopefully have a little fun along the way.
Always. Tech should be exciting, inspiring.
All right, before we wrap up, let's recap the main takeaways for everyone today. We started with Intel and their potential return to the GPU arena, what that could mean for gamers, for the industry as a whole.
Then we shifted to Nvidia and the reports of those cooling issues with their Blackwell architecture. A reminder that even the giants face technical challenges, and that those challenges can have a real impact on consumers.
We also dug into Google's plans to potentially merge Chrome OS and Android, speculating about their motives and what it could mean for the future of Chromebooks.
And of course, we couldn't resist talking about those finger watches, a testament to the creativity and innovation happening in the world of wearable tech.
Absolutely. And finally, we explored Valve's decision to prioritize innovation over simply delivering a sequel with Half-Life 2, Episode 3. Their commitment to pushing the boundaries, even if it meant disappointing some fans, is a reminder that sometimes the toughest choices lead to the most groundbreaking results.
A lot to think about.
Definitely food for thought. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last question. In this fast-paced world of tech, what innovations are you most excited about?
And on the flip side, what are you a little nervous about?
It's something to consider as we navigate this ever-changing landscape. Technology is a powerful tool, and it's up to us to shape its future.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those conversations going.
And join us next time as we continue our journey into the fascinating world of technology. Until then, stay curious.
It really makes you appreciate, the power of creativity, right?
It does. I mean, look at everything we've covered just in this one deep dive. Intel and their potential GPU comeback, NVIDIA's cooling issues, Chrome OS and Android merging, finger watches, AI doing our shopping, and then Valve taking the stand for innovation, even if it means delaying or maybe even canceling a beloved game.
It's a lot to process.
It is, and honestly, it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Barely. The world of technology is just so vast, constantly evolving, it's impossible to cover everything in a single conversation.
That's what keeps it so interesting, though, right? Always something new to discover, something to learn, something to question.
Absolutely. And that's what we're hoping to encourage in you, our listeners, that sense of curiosity, that drive to learn and explore.
Because ultimately, technology is a tool. And it's up to us to decide how we use it, how we shape it, how we make sure it benefits humanity.
Well said.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the ever-changing world of tech, I want to leave you with one final thought. In this whirlwind of innovation, what are you most excited about? What gets you pumped about the future of technology?
And on the other hand, what are you a little nervous about?
Yeah,
What keeps you up at night when you think about the potential downsides of all this progress?
Because let's face it, technology, like any powerful tool, can be used for good or for bad.
It's up to us to be informed, to be engaged, to have those tough conversations about the ethical implications, the societal impacts.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those conversations going.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of technology.
Until then, stay curious.